Hello everyone, Birdie here with Redbird Designs and doing a quick tutorial on the burlap wreath kits that we sell. This one's an Easter one that I am showing you how to use, but you can use this format with any of the kits that you purchase, whatever holiday that might be. So we're going to start by talking about what you get in your kit. And then we'll dive right into it. So the first thing you'll have is your 14-inch wreath form, and it will have the pipe cleaners on it already, ready to go. So these will be used to attach the burlap to the wreath. Okay. Then you'll get a board of your choice. You will get 6 yards of burlap ribbon. And then depending on the board, you will get a variety of other ribbon to use as accents or a bow. There is an option to purchase a pre-made bow. So then you'll just get ribbon for the accents and then a pre-made bow. So those are the options that you have for the ribbon. And then you'll get some bundles of wire that we use to attach the ribbon to the wreath. So let's get started. I'm going to push this aside. We are not going to deal with that right now. So let's get started building the form. So you'll have 2 pipe cleaners at every intersection. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4 round sections. And then a structural piece or a rail is what I like to call them, that connects all 4. So you have 2 pipe cleaners here. Then you have 2 pipe cleaners that are floaters, what I like to call them. And then 2 at the next rail, 2 floaters, rail, 2 floaters. And these are going to adjust as we work, and that's okay. Keep that in mind. When you're starting, you do want to start at a rail piece or a piece with this crossbar structural piece here. I like to start on my outside, go all the way around the outside, and then come to the inside, and then go all the way on the inside. So as we go, we're going to start by taking our burlap ribbon and gathering it together, pinching it together, and I'm going to use that pipe cleaner to secure it. I'm going to pull nice and tight. I don't want that to fall out. And I'm going to give it 2 twists. And then I'm going to move this to the side. I'm going to go to the next pipe cleaner. So that one is going to be our floater. That's the next in line on the outside circle that we're working on. And I want to measure down 6 inches. Now typically I just use my hand to measure. If you want to pull out a ruler, you can. I put the ruler just right at the first pipe cleaner. We pull out 6 inches, and then wherever that 6 inches is, we're going to gather that burlap and pinch it together. Then we're going to that pipe cleaner, lay it in the pipe cleaner, twist nice and tight, and then a second twist to secure it. And now we've got our first little bubble or poof. Okay. Now this one's going to move around. That's okay. Don't worry about that. You can kind of push it even off to the side. And now we're going to repeat that process all the way around the outside, hitting every pipe cleaner. So using a ruler if you want, or your hand is typically, good enough. Gather it at that 6 inches. Lay it in between that pipe cleaner. Give it a nice tight squeeze, and then twist it again to secure it. And as you're working, don't worry about fluffing your poofs or your bubbles quite yet. We'll do that typically at the very end when it's all put together and we need to adjust anything. So now that we have taken it all the way around the outer edge, we can now drop down and attach it to all of the inner pipe cleaners. So here I am at my last one, which is the floater right before my beginning. I'm going to, again, measure to 6, gather, and instead of connecting it to the beginning one, I'm going to drop down and connect it to that inner pipe cleaner. Give it a twist, nice and tight, a second twist, and there's our puff. And then we are going to go all the way around to the insides. Okay, so then once you get to that last pipe cleaner, here is where I drop down. You can see this is where I began. I'm going to measure out the 6 inches, and I'm going to attach it to the one that I drop down into. So I'm reattaching it to my start of that center one. Okay, and then whatever you have left over, you can cut off. I recommend cutting off about 6 inches, or 2 inches, and then you can tuck it down underneath, and we'll attach it to that pipe cleaner in the back. Okay, so the next step after this is we want to move our pipe cleaners to the back. So they're all kind of just poking out, and we want to get them out of the way. So what I like to do is I'll flip over my wreath, and you can see where the pipe cleaners are from the back. I'll use my fingers, and I will find the 2 and just bring them to the back and give them another couple twists, and then just lay them flat. Try and push them down into the wreath to get them out of the way. So I find the 2 tails of that pipe cleaner, bring it to the back and give it a twist, and then just push them down flat so they're not sticking straight up. So at this point we can do a little fluffing. I like to just open these up so they are kind of sticking up. As you build them, they might get kind of twisted like this, where they're twisted and smallish looking. But if you open them up, kind of start at one pipe cleaner and pull a little bit, they will poof up really nicely. Here's one that's kind of been twisted and gathered too much. So if we just kind of stick our fingers into the center of that ribbon and then pull the sides down towards the wreath there, that helps build the poof. Just go around and check them all. Make sure they're all kind of poofed up, and we're ready to go. So the next part is to create what I call are the little tails that kind of stick in between and help fill the burlap wreath. And to do that, I'm going to use a wide ribbon and a narrow ribbon. These will come with your kit. So I'm going to set that to the side here. Grab my scissors. And what we want to do is cut 8 inches. So we'll need a ruler for this. I usually cut 1 and then just use my ribbon as a guide. I'll cut them both at the same time just to save a step. And we're creating a tail. Once we have our 12 cuts done, we want to give them a decorative end. So I will gather, 3 at a time, line them up. We want to fold them in half. And this is the open, this is the fold. So we want to come down about a 1/2 inch on the fold, and we're going to cut at an angle up to that open end. And that gives us a pretty dovetail corner. Fold in half. And if this is the first time creating one of these, you might want to just do one ribbon at a time until you have some practice. It's a little easier than trying to handle all 3. Fold in half. On the fold side, come down a 1/2 inch, and we're cutting at an angle up to the open end. We're going to do that with all the wides and all the narrow pieces. Next, we're going to gather our tails together with the wire that is in your kit. These are typically bundles of 6. You might have an extra one in there. I like to untwist them and just get them all straightened out. And just run your fingers along them so they're easier to grab and maneuver. And then we're going to create our tails. So we're going to take a wide and a narrow. And depending on the pattern or the type of ribbon you have, you want your pattern facing up. So mine can go either way. And then the next step is in the center. You're going to gather it, pinching like that. We're going to take a piece of wire, lay it on top, and then pull the 2 sides of that wire to the back, turn it around. You want it to be about equal distance of the wire. Once it's in the back, I hold it between my fingers so I see the 2 tails, and I grab it with my thumb like this, and then I'll actually twist the tail until it's tight. You'll have these 2 nice long tails, the wire tails in the back. You've got this little ribbon tail here, accent piece. And then what I do is I just pinch them. And then I might even give it another twist if I want it nice and tight, if it didn't look like it was tight enough. And then we've got this really just pretty accent that's going to sit in our wreath. Next, we're going to attach our tails to our burlap wreath. Using the 2 wires, we're going to thread that down into the burlap wreath and secure it to the back. We want to attach it to the point where we have the pipe cleaner. So you can either attach it to this outer part or the inner part. It doesn't matter. We just want to put one piece of wire on one side, another on the other, threading that through. I'm going to give it a tug. I grab both those pieces in the back, so it kind of looks like that. Then I'm going to flip it around. I've got my 2 pieces of wire back here, and I'm just going to give them a good twist, and then we can cut the excess. Don't cut it too close to the twist, otherwise it will come undone. So I cut it about a 1/2 inch away. So I've got that much extra that can get tossed. I've got these 2 little pokey tails, and I just fold them and kind of tuck them back under into the burlap. Okay, just like we did with the pipe cleaner. Then when it's out here, once we get them all attached, we can do some fluffing, and it will help fill in our burlap wreath. right, now that we've got them attached in the back and clipped and cleaned up, now we can come to the front and fluff. So here we're just going to take a minute and open up our flights so they round out around our poofs. So I go to the bottom here and I bring it out and curl it around my fingers so it creates this curve around my puff. And then you can also separate them just a little bit to even create more dimension. When you separate them so they create an X. So on this side, I pull the pink to the inside. On this side, I pull the pink out. The next step is to attach our board or decide where we want to attach our board and our bow. So your board is going to come with 2 clips on the back that have the wires for attaching. I like to put my boards off to the side and add a little bit of an angle like this. You can go right in the center, which is also really pretty because it doesn't cover up any of that. Or to the other side, whatever your preference is. Like I said, I prefer a little off to the side. But before I attach it completely, I'm going to build my bow and kind of see where I want my bow in relation to my board. This Bodabra to build my bows. And then I start with the piece that I want in the back. So we're starting with the back of the bow and building forward. I'm going to grab my dark purple here. I'm going to stick it in my center here. And I'm going to leave about a 6-inch tail. And then I'm going to create a loop. Push it down. And this loop is about 5 inches. Just make sure I make it big enough. And then 5 inches on the other side. Then I'm going to do that again. I think it's supposed to be, I might have it a little too big. So it's about 4 inches. So we want to have 4-inch loops on each side. Then we've got our base down. We're going to do the same thing with this butterfly. Because it's patterned, I need to do a twist here so that my pattern always stays forward. Now these loops are just going to be a little bit shorter than the base, our purple. Once I get past this saddle piece, I give it a twist. Bring it back in, give it a twist. A nice tight twist. We want to have a nice tight center to attach. And then I'm going to just kind of pull my tails down just so they know which way to go when I secure it with my wire. Okay. Now it's all flat and that's okay. We're going to fluff and build once we get it secure. So I'm going to now do the same thing with my pink or skinny ribbon. And this one is going to be a little shorter than the last. So the loops on each set gets a little bit smaller. That way we can see the back. Okay. Here we go. Saddle there so that when I pull it up, we're going to wrap the wire around the front center here, just like we did with our ribbon tails. Bring it to the back, and then we're going to give it a good twist. Just a nice and tight twist. There we go. And then we want to fluff. So if you've gotten a bow that was pre-made, your bow might come flattened from shipping. And if that's the case, you just want to stick your fingers in each of those loops and kind of spread them apart to open up those loops and create a nice full bow. Here's my last little loop. There it is. There we go. All right, starting to see a nice pretty bow there. The last thing I'm going to do is dovetail my ends just like we did with the ribbon tails. And decide where we want that to be. So I think I'm going to put this kind of up here with my bow kind of at the corner down here. Maybe have this at just a little bit of an angle when it hangs, or it can be straight, however you want to do it. So now that I kind of have my layout, I can attach, I'll start with my board. I'm going to hold it in place, flip everything over, and find where my wire is for my clips. Here are my 2 wires. I'm just going to bring them around to the back, give a gentle pull, and twist those wires. I'm not going to cut these or trim these yet, just in case I have to adjust that. I'm going to kind of lift up my wreath, find my 2 wires, and thread them through my loops here, and gently twist. I'm just going to fold those off to the side, then I'm going to flip it back around and see where it's at. That looks good. So now we are going to attach our bow, which I kind of want facing away. So this is kind of going up that angle. I want my bow to face away that way. So I am going to pretty much wrap it around just like I did with the board. Get those 2 wires. Okay, and I'm going to flip the whole thing over. Give it a, you don't want to pull too hard on your wires for your board or your bow, because you don't want to sink the items. You want to leave that fluff of the wreath and the burlap. There we go. And that's it. Now, if your kit came with some embellishments, you might get some of these cute little picks. But for instance, if you got some picks in your kit, or maybe you have some at home, you could stick these kind of down in with the ribbon tails, excuse me. So I'm not a fan of this greenery, so I'm just going to pull that off. And you could use a glue gun and stick these down in there, but I like to just stick them in the burlap holes and kind of secure them that way. And then I can flip it over and wrap, because this is wire, I can wrap it around one of the posts or the wire in the back. I think maybe just kind of 3 spots I think will be nice. Just a little something. And there we go. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. I hope it inspires you to create a wreath, whether you buy a kit from us or go out and gather all your supplies yourself. They're super fun, super addictive, easy, and just so beautiful. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye.